guys, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to give an update on my water culture orchids. So the orchid on the right, I've got in full water culture. It sits in a water reservoir all the time. And then the one on the left used to be in full water culture. It didn't do so well, so I moved it to semi-water culture, which is where I fill this water reservoir up fully. I leave it there for a few hours, I dump that water and then let it dry. So this one's getting wet dry cycles, and this one is sitting in a pool of water. So let's talk about the Vanda first. So when I initially got this orchid, I put it in full water culture, and then I noticed that the roots died off. I had kept them in water all the time, and those roots just didn't do very well. So what I ended up doing was I switched it to semi-water culture to give it a wet dry cycle. I think it's very common for Vandaceous orchids to not really like that. They do like air around their roots. However, I want to give you guys an update so you can see how it's doing. So when I first got this orchid, it had a pretty nice root system. I put it into the cup. The roots died off, so then I had to trim and start over. I'll put pictures up so you guys can see, but we've made a lot of progress since then. And I'll put the dates up so you could see the time transition as I was growing this orchid in that grow method. So now that we're in early March, let me show you guys how this orchid is looking right now. So this has grown pretty significantly, and it's actually growing up out of the pot. And this little thing that I have here, I don't think I need it any longer. But this root system has just gone pretty insane. Let me try to get this off. We've got some nice root tips. It does appreciate the wet dry cycle. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in a larger sort of setup, just because I do think it's enjoying it. I have to somehow detangle this. I will be right back. All right, here we go. So I've taken that little holder out. And as you can see, the root system is pretty long. Everything has a new root tip. This has been in that grow system since probably October. So it's been a few months, and the roots have grown in really, really nicely. So I'm very happy with this. So overall, this is a healthy orchid. I think it's happy. I have it in pretty bright light. I have it with my cattleyas. As you can see, there's some anthocyanin here. So I think it's getting sufficient light. I'm just going to upgrade that pot so that cup, so that there's plenty of room for the roots. My idea of success is when these leaves either match or exceed the previous leaf size. As we can see here, this leaf is shorter than the last leaf, and I think that was indicative of those roots dying off, which I wasn't too happy about, which is why I switched the grow method. So I'm looking for this leaf to at least get this size, if not larger, and then I'll consider it a success. But I think with the roots just getting much longer on me, and this being much happier in semi-water culture, I think we'll get there. So this is the update on my Vanda. I'm going to keep this grow method. What I do is I water this, and I'll leave it soaking for about 8 hours, and then I'll do that every 3 to 4 days. I play around with it. It's not set in stone. You can generally see when the leaves are a little bit wrinkly that it needs water, but I leave it for about 8 hours and then every 3 to 4 days I'll repeat the cycle. So they're getting plenty of water when they're soaking, and then they're getting a pretty good drying. I'll probably increase that threshold in the summer. Now, in terms of how far I've taken this, I've left it soaking for 24 hours before. And I tried to go 1 full week without watering. I think that was too much for this orchid. It didn't really like it, and then it started giving me these little spots here. So I think I was just pushing it too far, but I find that 8 hours is just fine, and this orchid does not mind it so much. So these little spots I think are just from me just going way too far with it. I was experimenting with it to see what works best. So I say like an 8-hour threshold is fine. I do this like in the morning, and then after work I dump that water. And every 3 to 4 days it gets its wet dry cycle. So that's the update here. I'll keep you guys posted on how it does. Some folks have been asking me for updates on this, so I wanted to show you. But yeah, this is my Vanda in semi-water culture. Moving on to my Dendrobium nobile no ID, I actually moved 2 of the keikis to full water culture, and they're doing just fine. I'll say that they did take some time to adapt. So these orchids did not like it right away. This one lost a leaf, unfortunately. This one is just fine. It enjoyed it. But what I find for these orchids in my limited experience with full water culture is that when they grow, they don't grow that smoothly into the water. They tend to have these like jagged edges, like starting and stopping, if you could see right here. So I was a little bit worried about this in the beginning, but then I noticed that there were roots that were coming in, just going right into the water, and they were fine. So I have mixed feelings about the grow method. I find that it works for this. It does not work for my Vanda over there, but I think you just need to have some trial and error with it. This has been here for a couple of months now, probably about 3-4 months. I took those keikis off probably in November actually, and now it is March, so it's been here a good amount of time. I wanted to show you these before I give these keikis away. But I think they're growing just fine. As you can see, these roots are not dying off, and they've been in that water for a while. They just tend to grow kind of jagged, and I think that's common for full water culture. If you guys grow in full water culture, let me know in the comments down below how it goes for you. I think I'm gonna have to experiment more with this to see how it does, but I'll say it's been relatively successful in that I'm getting new root tips, and this is actually a super easy grow method in my opinion, because then you could just fill a water reservoir and then you don't have to really worry. So if you go on vacation and stuff, you can just know how quickly your water evaporates, and then that'll tell you about how much water to give it. So yeah, that is my update on my full water culture orchid and my semi water culture update on my Vandaceous type. If you guys grow this way, let me know in the comments how it's going for you. I'm always curious to know. And when you have Vandas, do you prefer potting them up? Do you grow them bare root? Do you grow them in semi-water culture? Interested to know down in the comments below. Anyhow, thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more orchid care updates. Take care, everyone. Bye.